So good evening to all and welcome to this session on HPC, Holistic Progress Card, right? And the CBSE is talking about this holistic report card for the past 1 or 2 years. In fact, when the National Education Policy was released, this was one of the things that they said is going to change. That is the report card. The assessments are going to change, yes. The books are changing, yes. We are already seeing so many changes that is expected in the coming years. I think for teachers, we are living in one of the most exciting times. We haven't seen so many changes as a teacher who has taught for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We haven't seen so many changes as we are seeing now, and we are going to see in the next 2, 3 years. I hope all of you will agree to that.
Yes, sir.
And yes, and this is, I think for a teacher is something very exciting because, every day you are going through the same stuff. And when you get this new ideas, new formats, you have something to look forward and it does not get monotonous. And it's a change for the good, I believe. If you go through the national credit framework, the national curriculum framework, if you go through the holistic report card, the experiential learning, everything is adding on to the learning experience of the child. Earlier it was teacher centric, and now the whole concept is now becoming, I would say, child centric. So what is important for us is to understand each and every aspect of the national education policy, right? So what I'm going to do today, the first part is going to be consisting of two parts. One is obviously the report discussion on the reports. And the second part I'm going to discuss is how we are going to implement this. I'm going to show you some samples. And the third part will be the Q&A, right? So in between, you have any doubts, you are most welcome to share your suggestions. You are most welcome to put in your inputs. Okay, so because you are also very experienced in all this. And so what I'm going to do is keep the house open. Of course, there will be Q&A in the end, but at the same time, I want you all to participate. Stop me at any point of time, right? So,
Guinea.
so we are good to go, I guess. So the topic for today is the holistic report card. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. So as I said, during the discussion, if you are having any doubts, you want something to share, please do stop me and you can unmute yourself and, share your suggestions. Or you can wait till the end to give your suggestions, and we'll find out ways to discuss this and take this forward. And this is called the 360-degree assessment. Why is it called 360-degree assessment? Because earlier, the whole report card was made by the teacher himself or herself. The onus of preparing the report was only, in fact, with the class teacher. If you are not a class teacher, then probably the duty was less. As class teachers, we had to do everything practically till now. But when we're talking about the holistic report card, it's a 360-degree assessment. That means many more people other than the class teachers involved, which means there will be a self-assessment, there will be a peer assessment, there will be assessment by the parents, there will be external evaluators by the school administrators, and so on. So the stakeholders are there. So I will be explaining you this whole format with the help of some examples. But before that, just to introduce what is HPC, this is called a 360-degree multi-dimensional report. Now, why multi-dimensional? Because if you've gone through the national education policy, the stress is now not only on academics. Academics is important, but there is life skills, attitudes and values, physical and health education. A lot of other parameters are introduced into our reports, which was missing in the earlier report cards. So in the earlier report cards, okay, you got 80, 90, okay, you are classified as good. Multiple intelligence was not taken into consideration in our Indian reports. But when you go to the European system or American system, you find the report was very comprehensive, and the report card was testing the multiple intelligence of the child. That means if the child is good in sports or music or art or, whichever form of, or computers or whatever it is, that used to get reflected. And unfortunately, till now, what was happening, we were delegating only grades to them. Okay, this is a graded subject. In fact, the subjects were given more prominence and the other subjects were regarded as extracurricular. And national education policy says that don't use that word extracurricular anymore, right? Because now it is also part of the curriculum. So there is no distinguishing. You cannot distinguish between, okay, this is a core subject, this is an additional subject, that's why it's less important, or this is something regarding sports or health education. It's not that important as the main subject. So there is nothing called main now. Every subject is equal, whether you're taking maths, English, science, physical education, music, everything is equal as per the education policy. So there is obviously that's the first shift that we can see, that we are looking at a report card which is more uh, in terms of identifying the learner in various aspects. It's not only the academics. Based on rote memorization, you get some marks and the child is classified as very good, good, excellent, or not average and below average. So this was the problem with the old report card, and that is why this multidimensional report has been introduced. And next year onwards, 2025, they said that it is going to be mandatory for the school. So this year is going to be a learning process for all the schools. In fact, I was discussing with JMM, and many of the ERP are already working on this model, how to make this report card, because they have to make this report card for all the schools. And obviously the teachers need to understand how to fill it. And then only the whole holistic angle will come in this report. So what is the objective? The objective is obviously the literacy and numeracy skills of the child has to be ascertained. How good or how, what is the minimum level of, you've heard about this word MLOs, minimum learning outcomes. Have they achieved that or not? That has to be reflected in the report card. Uniqueness of the learner has to be there. Every child is unique and your report card should show what you're good at. Many report cards till now were focusing on what the child didn't know. Okay, so the child is very poor in this subject. That's why he's scoring less. But now here is what is the child good at? So uniqueness. So what is the child good at? That gets highlighted in this report card, right? And now what is going to happen when you're documenting this? We are taking the help of the parents also. So far, I haven't seen a report card till now. This year, I saw some report cards. Till now, you can correct me if you have been doing it in your schools. There was no column which the parent filled. It was always the teacher's signature and remarks of the teacher. And it was the remarks of the probably principal and signature of the headmistress, something like that. Was the parent ever involved in any form of remarks or assessments in any schools? You can stop me and correct me, right? I haven't seen. This year I saw, and I will be showing you also some of the reports that I have got, right? So this is what is the big change that we are expecting, that parent as a stakeholder is also participating in this whole process of making the report. So it is going to be learner-centric. Now, learner-centric, this also is very important for us to understand, because till now the teacher was the most important person in the classroom, right? The teacher was the most important person in the classroom. And the whole thing was teacher-centric. So what happened was there was variation. So if you are having 4 sections in your class, the section of teacher A and B is very good, or C and D is average, then what happened was the children used to find a difference in the teaching methodology and the assessments, which ideally should not happen if the system is perfect. So all of us are not equal, right? Some of us have got extra talent, more creative, they have better rapport with the kids, and they will be obviously doing well in their classes in terms of the interaction with the kids, right? But at the same time, we must also understand that when we are creating an assessment or a report, the teacher is important, but not to the extent that the child should suffer. Irrespective of who is the teacher, the system should be uniform. That is very important. Because unless the systems are uniform, the child in XYZ class is going to suffer. Assessments have to be uniform. So it became learner-centric. When the focus is shifting from teacher-centric to learner-centric, then what is going to happen is there will be no disparity among the classes. Okay, disparity is coming because you are using your own methodology. So I cannot use my own methodology to do something. I need to have a certain format. The rubrics have to be there. So when the rubrics are there, the parent, the principal, or your colleagues, nobody can question you how you have given these marks because your rubrics are ready. So when we are shifting this whole process from teacher-centric to learner-centric, there will be no problem. And that is also a very good progressive report card that we are going to study. So this whole report card is based on three things. One is health and well-being. Now, this is also one very important parameter of today's generation. Now, if you see, today's generation is more of tech. They are very good at technology, but at the same time, they're not involved in physical sports. So the moment they go out in the sun, they feel weak. They don't walk much. They don't play physical sport. They're into mobiles and gaming and all that. And therefore, also you find that many of our students in our classes are not fit. Either they are overweight or, they eat selective food, nutrition is absent. And in the long run, this is going to give them problems. You see that there are many students who are already diabetic because of their eating habits. There are other problems, even blood pressure. Some young people are having heart issues. So all this is why, because health and physical education has taken a backseat, especially you will agree after the COVID times, right? After COVID, our kids are more in their houses doing digital games rather than playing physical games. So it is important that schools take up this responsibility of involving them in more physical games. And therefore, health and well-being is a very important part of the whole report card. So we cannot I say that I am an IIT topper and I will not participate in yoga and meditation and sports. I cannot keep studying. You have some characters, in school. It's a PT period and they will be sitting in the library and studying. So we want overall balanced personalities, right? We are not creating zombies. We are not creating individuals who are one thing. We need students, we need people, and we need citizens who are more balanced in nature, who can face life in its fullness. Otherwise, what will happen? Some small stress comes, they're not able to handle it. They need to communicate effectively. Now, if you notice the new generation, the kind of language that they will use in WhatsApp, right? They are used to short forms. YOU, they will not write, they will write only you. And sometimes that becomes part of your comprehension or essays that they are submitting. And they are used to ChatGPT and digital media. So thinking capacity has reduced to a minimum. So this is the problem. So we have to get, as teachers, we need to motivate our students to put on their thinking caps to become creative. And that is why the CBSE is also bringing out so many projects, which is based on art integration. You have subject enrichment activities, you have multiple assessments, you have portfolios, which is going to bring the creative aspects of the child. So health and well-being is important. Being effective communicators is important, right? So this is the changed dimensions of the report. Now coming to the actual report card, the 360-degree report card, that will depend on the specific assessment. So if you are dealing with foundational stage, your assessment areas will be different, right? So when the child is very small, you may have to see the emotional development of the child, the gross motor skills, the fine motor skills, how the child is interacting with the peers. So your assessment criteria will be different when the child is very small. And as they grow up, the parameters are totally different, right? So I'm going to discuss a little bit about that. And then obviously, once we know which parameters are important, we'll be able to assess the child completely. And here, this is the what the 360-degree report card looks like. So if you look at the center circle report card, it's a multi-dimensional report. Now you see there are 4 areas of assessment. On the right side, you will see assessment by the teachers. This was already there, right? And what is new here? 3 parameters are new. So can somebody read out that? The 3 parameters which have been introduced in this is, first is self-assessment.
Self-assessment.
Yes, ma'am. And
Self-assessment. Then
self-assessment.
assessment by parents and then peer assessment.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Renukama. So here we had assessment was done by the teachers. They were very happy about it. Teacher felt very good, all powerful. No? parent is coming and then probably they will say, why you have given C grade or B grade? Why this many? There used to be a lot of questions. Why? Because the teacher is very powerful. The teacher is doing all the assessment. Whatever the teacher believes and has seen in the class, obviously, I'm sure most of the teachers are doing a very honest job in doing, giving the grades without any disparity, without any bias. But at the same time, only one person was involved in that, who the class teacher and sometimes the subject teachers, they used to discuss and give the grades. And the beauty of this report card now comes self-assessment. Have we ever had self-assessment? Our students have never been involved in anything, any decision making in the schools. Do they decide on the syllabus? Some schools I have heard do all this, but not in my school. Probably in your school. Do we ask them which date you should have exam? Do we ask them what should be the syllabus for a test? Do we involve the student in decision making at any point of time?
No, sir.
No. Thank you for the honest answer. There may be an exceptional school which is having a student council who has some say in all this, but otherwise, kids were not involved in the decision-making process. And I'm sure that in all your schools, you have at the end of the year a form which you have to fill, no? That a self-assessment form. Do you have that in your school, self-assessment form, which all the teachers have to fill regarding your past 1 year? How did you go about whether you were self-assessment forms?
Yes, we do fill.
Yeah, you fill, right. So every school has got that. As adults, we are filling. In corporates, it's mandatory for your promotions. So we are filling that, no? How we have taught the children. Are we checking the chronicles? Are we writing the chronicles? Are we taking attendance properly? What are we doing for the gifted students? What are we doing for the weak students? What are the activities in which you are involved in the school? So many things we fill in that. Every school may be having a different format, but generally that is what is happening. But do we have a self-assessment form for the kids? No, right? I don't think so. If some school is doing very good. But here comes self-assessment in this report card. So the child is given the opportunity to make a self-assessment. And also remember there's a peer assessment. And also remember there is assessment by parents. And what is surprising about this, when I conducted this, I conducted a pilot project with some students. And you have these projects which you give to your kids, subject enrichment projects. And what happens normally, we make groups of 4 or 5. And when the group is submitting that project, 5 students are submitting that project. The project is very good. What do? You give an A grade, right? Do you think all the 5 students in that group has actually worked on that?
No.
No. And then what are we giving? We are giving A grade to all the 5. Now, so as a teacher, I am supposed to give A grade because this is the group project and they are saying, sir, we have done this as a group. Okay, so we give the A grade. But what happens when we do a peer assessment? The reality comes out. And the reality is something which you may not even imagine, because you find that, okay, this student is very good. For you, that student is very good. But when there is a peer assessment, you get the reality. What? Sir, he or she was not cooperating. He or she didn't do anything. He or she acted like a boss. He or she did not submit the resources on time. The student did not collaborate. You will get so many things from this group. Okay. Otherwise, in front of you, there may be a different person. In the peer group, they are a different person. So you get a different perspective. So what happens? You create a form there, or a Google form, or a actual this thing, where each person of the group is grading the others on the basis of the work they have done. Did that person cooperate? Did the person submit the resources? What part of the project was done by that by the person? So you can create your own rubrics, and then you realize that all 5 did not actually contribute. There was one person who didn't probably do anything at all, but that person got an A grade. And there is somebody who did so many things. Probably one person did the whole thing. 4 people were relaxing, but you don't know that. But when a peer assessment comes, do we know the reality? Yes, because the group knows who has done the work, whether it's for adults or for kids. So this is the first time that a peer assessment is being introduced, which is very good, because we are training our kids for a job, a business where they have to collaborate. most of the students, we find the good students especially, are very self-centered. They are worried about their marks, that I should excel. Some of them I have seen, they don't even give their notes to some other student. Some do, but many of the students are so competitive. Probably that is the direction from the parents. You worry about yourself, don't worry about others. So what is happening in the whole process is that we are losing out on individuals who will actually, these students are going to have problems later on in life. Because when you're working in a company or an organization, like in our job also, in teaching job, we cannot just say that I don't care about the other teachers and I'm going to carry on with what I do. That will be an unpleasant situation, right? So some of you who are seniors who know more, they can share something. Some juniors who know more tech stuff, they can teach. So there has to be a collaboration, then only the teaching community in a school grows. Unless that growth is happening, then there will be problems. Okay, there will be infighting, there will be jealousy, there will be ego problems. And then what happens? The atmosphere of the school becomes, it will not be conducive for good teaching to happen. So this is the problem that we are facing. So when this peer assessment is happening, we get the true picture. And we are not going to make a big fuss out of it. Okay, that's a secret between you and the person who has submitted that. So A, B, C, D, E, 5 students, they are assessing each other and submitting it to you. And then you got that. Assessment by parents. Now, parents are, during the PTM, when they come to meet you in the PTM, how many complaints or do they have? That, sir, ye to padhta hi nahi hai. For example, he doesn't study anything. He watches TV all the time. Some of the common complaints. He plays mobile. He doesn't listen to us. Some common complaints. There may be good things also. What is happening? The parents are telling you verbally all this. But it is never recorded. Now, report card says the child has got 50% marks and the parent is giving you all these complaints. Obviously, he's not studying in class, and then they will say nothing is happening in school, right? So, just by the physical presence of the child in the class, do you think the child will score 90%? Child is coming and sitting in the class, just attending your lectures. Will the child get 90%? No. Child will not get. No. Just putting a person in a gym will not make him or her a bodybuilder, isn't it? To become a bodybuilder, what you need to do is exercise. So it's same thing. Some people think, sir, ये आपके क्लास में तो 2 साल से पढ़ रहा है फिर भी कोई improvement नहीं है. So we are not magicians. We have to work very hard. The child has to work very hard. It has to be a collaborative effort. Parent has to work. Parent cannot say that I am very busy to monitor my child. The teacher cannot say this, I am doing my best, I can't do anything else. Child is indifferent totally nowadays. So what is happening is that who is ultimately the victim becomes the teacher most of the times. And the teacher goes out of his or her way to do things, extra class, remedial class, online classes, some are taking even during vacations, I am told. So this is the problem, sending notes via WhatsApp. And, so these are the things. So when we have an assessment by the parent himself or herself is saying that the child is not spending adequate time on the books, do you think the result will be there? No. So assessment by the parents is important. The parents, whatever they are telling you verbally, let them record that also. I am finding this. 90% of the parents accept what we are saying, right? You will agree with me. 10% parents will always have a problem. They have a problem with everything. So that is not their fault. It's something which is a part of the human system, right? So when we have assessment by the parents, it's going to create more comprehensiveness, more understanding of how the assessment is done. Because the teacher may say, okay, this teacher is very biased because, because of XYZ experience that they had. But when you have the assessment by the peers, now what will the parent say? Acha, you had a problem with B, now see his peers are saying this. I may have recorded this, okay, discipline, I have given C grade. Now, he is fighting. When I put the child in a group, then what has happened? The child is fighting with all the students. His peer group has also given him C in discipline. Now the parent will be little cautious because you and the assessment by the friends or the peer is on the same level. So this is why this report card becomes more comprehensive and more rational. Peer assessment is their self-assessment and assessment. All this together is going to give us. Now, some of you have also attended the Parakh meeting which happened. Jaya ma'am was there, and I'm sure some of you more were there. Nina was there. So, I mean, they explain different aspects of this holistic report card. And it's And when we talk about multiple assessments, we need to take more quiz. There are many students who are not able to write, but they are very good in verbal communication. They are very good in orally explaining things. Do we have a provision for those kind of kids, or they become E-grades? They can't write an answer, so E-grade. No. That is why I find that the entrance exams of nowadays, just like if you want an admission in Delhi University, earlier you get 95% and you get. Will you get with 95% now in any Delhi University college? No. What happens now? You have to give an exam. What is that exam? What is that exam called? This is called CUET, right? So,
CUET.
yeah, CUET exam has to be given. And CUET what? It's an MCQ. You don't have to write 100 words or 1,000 words. If you know the answer, just tick. And if you don't know the answer, leave it. Or you can take a guess, but then it will cause you negative marking. So what is happening? The whole system of education is changing from writing thousands and thousands of lines in completing an answer to knowledge. So when you are having an MCQ, you either know it or you don't know. And then on the basis of that, you are clearing the exams. So a 95% student may be very good in writing all these so-called pothas, but when it comes to a CUT exam, they don't know the answer, because there they don't want those pothas of writing 1,000 words. They want only one word answers, that MCQ, whichever is the correct answer. So that is what the whole report card is all about. So now what are the parameters about? The first is obviously academic performance. As a school, as teachers, as students, the main focus of every school is what? Academics. There is no denying of that. Still, the paramount importance is academics. Unless it's a sports school or a music school, that's different. But 99% of the schools are preparing our students for academics, basically for the board exams, basically for the competitive exams, and to become and the subject knowledge has to be such that they are able to clear these exams. So academic performance. Now, how are we going to grade these academic performance? You are already doing this, so I'm not going to explain too much about this. And that is outstanding, exceptionally good students. They are concedingly every test that you score, you will find that they are scoring above 90%. Outstanding students that you say, right? And they are consistently, you give them an homework, you give them an assignment, you give them a project, and the quality of work that they submit will be A grade, right? No problem at all. Everything is perfect. Then you have the next level of students, proficient. Proficiency means you are not as good as the brilliant people, but you are reasonable good, above average, good students who will give you good work. They have good thinking skill. They will ask you good questions. They will submit neat work. Everything is on time. But at the same time, we can't place them in the exceptional category, because that exceptional category is probably 10% of the class, maybe 4 or 5, depends on the school. Some you may have 10 also in your classrooms. Then we come to the third category, that is developing. Now, these are students who are actually average and they are performing below potential due to certain reasons. It could be family issues. It could be issues in their comprehension. They're not able to understand the language that is being spoken. There could be a problem that they are first generation learners. They must be from EWS category. They must be, not feeling comfortable with the teacher. So what, or they're not studying at all, they're into gaming or they're into other kind of things, which is keeping them busy with other things. So these are all the things that we have to see in this, right? So this is a problem that we are facing. Right. So how are we going to change all this? Okay, obviously the fourth category, now limited. Now in limited category, what is happening? There are many students in the class, irrespective of the schools, who are finding it very difficult to cope up with the classes, where they're finding it very difficult to uh, cope up with the classes. Why is it, why are they feeling difficult to cope up? Because when they are trying to do things, there is no one to help them there's no one to help them at home. There is no support from the family. There is no support. Probably they're studying in, you see, most of you attending today's sessions are from very good schools. So we will not understand this problem. The moment we try to go to rural areas, tier 2, tier 3 schools, the situation is very pathetic. The quality of the teachers are so poor that what will the child understand? You must have seen all those funny reels which is being circulated also. Wrong pronunciation. As South Indians or as somebody from the north, you may have different accents. Okay, you may have a Punjabi accent. I may have a South Indian accent. That's fine. But your pronunciation has to be clear and good, right? The pronunciation can. So what happens is when you are going to teach wrong things, when you are having problems, then the child will suffer. So those who go for board corrections, you will find that, a lot of students are getting single digit marks in the boards. Why? Because they don't know anything. Only MCQ they have done, not written any single word. So this is a problem that we are facing with the limited category, and it's a big challenge. Now, the problem in Delhi, because I think most of you are from Delhi, except for a few who are joining from other states. In Delhi, we have got this failure system now in class 3 and 8. And what has happened in this, so far up to class 8, everyone was promoted. Nobody felt the pressure. But now suddenly in 3 and 8, students are being tested on the minimum learning outcomes. And it is a surprising fact that out of 40, maybe 2 or 3 have not reached that level. And then what was happening in the earlier time, they were just getting promoted from one class to the other, reached 10th, and they used to get a compartment in that subject. And once you get a compartment, they never used to pass, and then the education is spoiled. I mean, you can't continue your studies because of that. So these were the issues that was happening. And we have to really work on this category that is limited. So these were the 4 parameters, and you already are giving this. But what is important now is that besides the academics, the holistic report card is talking about other parameters. And what are the other parameters? The first is co-curricular activities. In this also, the 4 grading system happens. Now, what are these co-curricular activities? We are talking about yoga, you're talking about physical education, you're talking about music, art, clay modeling, drama. So all this comes under co-curricular activities, which is also an important aspect of the child's growth. In many schools now, I'm surprised that they have done away with music and art and everything. They sorry if there are 1 or 2 principals attending, so but they probably it is not also in the principal's hands. Sometimes to save money, schools are also getting rid of these teachers. I'm very sorry to say this, but this is also an important part. When we are talking about yoga and physical education and music art, this is also what is developing the character of a child, not only that academics. So whatever little music or art that you're learning in school, that stays there for life, the drama, and that is important. So it's important that extracurricular activities are also given due importance. Now, always, the maths teachers are the most abused in every schools, right? And you know what the full form of maths is? What the students tell. Anybody knows what is the full form of maths? Maths is.
Sir, I know.
Yes, ma'am. Tell me.
Sir, many students tell that maths is mentally affected teachers handling students.
Okay. So maths is mentally affected teachers harassing students. Mentally affected teachers harassing. They are the most सबसे बदनाम जो होते हैं ना maths teachers होते हैं, but why is this? Because that is true to certain extent also, because हवा बना देते हैं एक तरीके से that they are very strict first of all, and then they put a lot of that today I'm going to teach something which is very difficult. They've already introducing something which is very difficult. They frighten the kids. Already they have got a mental block, and फिर उनको डरा देते हैं. So these are the issues. And then what happens? Also, there are some teachers, although I'm a teacher, I'm speaking against some of my colleagues. That is, they will say, today don't go for PT, I'm taking an extra class. How will the child feel? Will they feel good about it? Because the sports is something which they enjoy. Every kid will enjoy, right? And that is something which they'll go and play and all that. And the maths teacher suddenly announces that today there will be no sports. Why? Because I have to finish my course, and I'm going to take the maths class in that PT period. And then they will be sitting like that with a sad face, and they have no choice, right? The teacher is all powerful. So I am totally against
Yes,
that.
sir. Actually, I know one particular teacher. She handles higher secondary. The moment she enters the 12th standard children, she'll say, "See, children, we have these many exercises." She'll tell the number of exercises. She'll tell the number of problems also, the sums in the exercises. So we have this many. So we don't have time to waste. We have to go fast.
Yeah. So this is the problem. So already that pressure is being created by some of the teachers. Some teachers are there. So there is no denying of the fact that this is a problem that is affecting many of schools. And we have to, yes, ma'am.
May I ask a question, sir?
Yes, ma'am, please.
So I am a kindergarten teacher.
Yes.
So how important is free play?
Very, very important, ma'am.
Very important. You agree to that, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
because see,
recess time is very important for little children.
Absolutely, ma'am. See, learning from the environment
I
is
wish
the
my
best
principal
form of
were
learning
here.
that happens. That we have to go beyond the classroom, beyond the concept of saying that all the learning happens within the four walls of the classroom. When we go outside, we are going to learn so many things. Now, see, simple things like, even like a ball rolling and or they see the sky or they see the flowers outside, the trees, the learning that is happening at the foundation level. In fact, many schools I know that are not allowing the teachers to take the students outside.
Very true, sir.
So this is a now whenever I get chance to talk to principals of schools in sessions, I will always request them to allow at least not even for the bigger students. I would say that once in a while, of course, the primary.
I have observed when my class goes out, when I give them free play, it has not been happening for the past year and a half, but whenever they used to go out for recess, they used to come back, used to come with twigs, feathers of
Absolutely,
different
yes.
birds, even glittery wrappers that they have just picked up because it's shiny. And this is what touch, feel, sensory, development is all about.
Absolutely. I am wholeheartedly supporting this. And of course, this has to be in a regulated manner. That's the only thing. The catch is that it has to be in a regulated manner because Manvi ma'am, what happens in many cases is that the teacher also, when I'm talking in as a principal, if I am there, some teachers also misuse this freedom. So that is why the principals are little apprehensive of this whole thing of going out. Why? Because of the misuse that is happening. So that is why I said all the 4 sections or whatever, how many sections that you have, you need to have a comprehensive plan. It's not that, one section is going, other section is sitting in the class, other section is doing something else. So what happens in this scenario is that we need to come out with a rubric that, okay, once in a week, I'm going to take the children out or once in 3 days or once in 2 days. That has to be collaboratively talked about so that nobody misuses that. Okay, it's not a free period for the teachers. It's a learning exercise and we have to guide our students. We have to be there with the students.
That is entirely different. This is free play during recess. During recess where the whole school is out, but kindergarten is not allowed to go out.
They are eating in the classroom only.
Eating time is before with the teacher, guided eating, so that everybody, because these days parents are not worried about what they're learning. The mothers are more worried about whether the tiffin is finished or not.
Yes. So yeah, so they don't, what you're saying is that they're not allowed to go out at all?
They go out for PT, for yoga, for different purposes.
There is no free play. There is no games.
But free play like we used to have. I'm in this profession for the past 22 years, sir. And, we used to take them out for at least 1 hour at a stretch where the teacher is there with them. They are going into the sand pit. They are going on the swings. They are experiencing nature, which in Delhi, as it is, children don't have an access to.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So I am not a principal. So I am,
I just wanted to know whether it is important.
That's fine. As a teacher, I will support you. Like I will want my kids to go out and, small kids, why not? So we have a few principals attending this. If ma'am, Sunita ma'am, are you here? Sunita ma'am? Now, Sunita ma'am is a principal. So if she can give you I mean, because see, when they think of something, it's a different ball game altogether.
I love my school. The principal is excellent. Everything is going very well. But the only thing is certain thing, because I've been fighting for this for the past 1 year, that children need to go out for recess. They need to go out for recess. They cannot be confined to class and, monitors coming and minding them, because that is 20 minutes is the time the teachers get to go and have the tiffin and come back. It's a very school issue, so let's not just go further with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We are not here to criticize any school policies or anything. We are coming here to find solutions.
I just wanted to know whether free play has been given.
Yeah. So, Nina, you want to add something here? Are you here? Okay. Anybody else would like to? Yeah.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, in our timetable for the preparatory stage, there is WAU is there. That is world around us. So really the children should go outside. It is mandatory in our national curriculum framework. In the foundational stage, it is written clearly. And how many hours should be given, that also written clearly.
Okay. So thank you so much. So we have
WAU,
got an endorsement.
The name is WAU.
Manvi ma'am, Komlavali ma'am is a CBSE resource person. She has confirmed with the ideas of the national education policy. She is saying that it is written in the document that
yes, WAU. When I had taken that session in a school, I had taken that. This is WAU. Yes, according to the timetable, we have to do that.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So I'm sure, see, we are having every school will have little bit of issues. We are here to find solutions, and we are going to, provide solution, because, when I go and ask my principal, and if I tell this is a problem, he will say, don't give me problems, give me solutions, right? So we need to find solutions, and then we can talk about it. So what is the apprehension? Why they are not doing? We have to find out. And then instead of taking our problems, whenever I go and ask something about it, he will say, Matthew, don't give me problems. You tell me what is the solution. You come with the solution. We'll think about it. Right. So we need to work on the solutions. That is important. So co-curricular activities very rightly brought about out play. And the national education policy is giving so much of importance to co-curricular activities. So moving on to the next. So that is life skills. I want to just ask you one question. Are our students getting life skills in our schools? Are they getting life skills in school?
They get, sir, but
yes,
not as a, just for the sake of getting. Like we as teachers or school, as a management, just for the sake of giving them a value education class or life skill class, like we do it, but not in a manner which it has to be really given to the students.
Yeah. So when we talk about life skills, I have even met engineers who cannot fix a fuse. They will call an electrician for that. They are engineers, but they will call an electrician to fix a simple fuse. So what life skills are we teaching in schools? Actually, from my experience, it is very, very little. If suppose you are having a problem of electricity, you will call electrician. When you are having a plumbing problem, you will call the plumber, carpenter, everyone you are just going to call. You are not doing it yourself. So vocational courses, or now they're talking about some 10 bagless days. Now, what is going to happen in the bagless days? We are going to enrich our students with skills. And what are these skills? It could be simple things like Manvi ma'am said that, when you send your kids, they will bring some twigs, this and that and all that. They're self-experimentation. They'll collect things, something from the field and so on. So, even small things like how does a plant grow? What kind of manure is used? How is the soil dug? How earthworms are important? All this can be demonstrated. You can call a farmer or somebody who is an agricultural scientist or, somebody who knows about, demonstrate all this to the kids. And then they will start growing these. As it is, we are going through global warming. They say that we are the first generation to see the effect of global warming, and we'll be the last to do something about it. After this, the temperature or, it's going to get worse. So we are actually the first generation of people who are feeling the adverse effect of global warming. And we will be, in fact, the last generation to do something about it. If we don't do something, then our next generation is certainly going to suffer. We have to tell our students, tell them about the adverse effects of global warming, depending on what their age is, and start taking remedial measures. Planting trees, of course, is the most important. And when we are talking about life skills, simple things, small things which they can do at home, they need not depend on others, need to be taught in the schools. Swimming, everybody cannot learn swimming, right? But what happens when somebody drowns? What happens when some insect bites? What happens when a dog is attacking you? These are all life skills. What happens? If you are lost in a forest, how will you find the way? You see, there are so many things which are taught, and these things, remember, I don't know which session I was attending. One resource person was sharing that the teacher had a life skill class about they were studying about sea waves and how tsunamis can be, what is tsunami and all they were studying. And this child was remembering the lecture of the teacher in that class. And when she went for a holiday with her parents, she identified the waves, saying that, some disaster is going to happen. And then she warned all the citizens who were roaming around there to get to safety, and all of them were saved. Okay, this was a real incident. I'm forgetting where somebody had shared this. But this is how life skills is happening. What happens when you are having an earthquake? Do our kids know? What do they do? If there is a fire, that it's disaster. Now this summer, how many fires did we have? ACs burning up, car burning up, houses getting burnt up. So are we and are our students prepared for all this? Do we have sufficient disaster management programs and drills? So life skills are very important. Otherwise, something happens and we will not know what to do. So this is important. And then again, we need to have the programs and assessment patterns on those. Then values and attitudes. Slowly, from humans with emotions, we are becoming humanoids. It's a mixture of human and android. We are partly becoming mechanical. We are communicating very less. Okay. Earlier, we used to call people, we used to visit people. Now the visiting has stopped. Meeting people has stopped. Calling people has stopped. Very minimal interaction with people. And what is happening? Attitudes and values we used to respect our elders so much. Are the kids of today doing that much? You see the generation gap. I may be wrong, but this is what I have observed. The attitude, the value system of today's generation is totally different from us adults. What is right and wrong for us is not right and wrong for them. They have different parameters, right? So when you talk about the less privileged in society, I remember in CJM, they used to bring those aloo and onions and all, no, potatoes and onions for once in a week.
We still bring.
Children
still bring.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's a beautiful gesture, no, of sharing with the those students who cannot, or those children who cannot, or those families that's something very beautiful. So that act of even some of our very senior, I had met one CJMite, she's a resource person also. She was sharing this, that they used to do. I said, I know about this because, Nina was a teacher there and so many friends are there. So, and this is something very beautiful. And she said that, that habit of giving as a student she's still maintaining that. Every week, that desire to donate something, a part of that is still there. So that's how it gets ingrained into a system. Otherwise, what happens? Oh, I don't care about that person. They are telling all their problems, but I don't care. We need to be a little bit empathetic. So attitudes and values are found in schools. So first thing that, many of us, whenever we see a kid or a student, the first thing that we ask is, when we see something good happening or even bad sometimes, we say, which school are you studying in, isn't it? Why? Because unknowingly, the value system of the school gets rubbed in the child's personality, right? So child may not know, parents may not know, but in the long run, as a child, as an adult, that schooling system, that 13 years of schooling makes you what you are. 90%. Sometimes it changes, yes. Okay, but sometimes you find that children who are different in school and have become different in college and adult life. But 90% of the value system that you give in the schools remain for life. And when you are making them actually learners for life, you're making the value system has got ingrained into the system, that is very difficult to take it out from that. So that is why our schools are very important. And they remember you for small things. Okay, some of you are very popular among students, I know that. Why? Because it is not probably because of the teaching, but because of the love that you gave them, right? Probably that hug which they needed when they actually needed it. And probably a tap on the shoulder when they were down, you said something, you will not even remember, but 10 years down the line, they will say, sir, this happened, this incident 10 years back when I was in this class, you said this, and that's what struck me. And so it is something which is very casual for you, but your every action, same way your negative actions. Sometimes we are also human beings. Sometimes we make mistakes. We get angry. We say something which we are not supposed to. That also they remember, unfortunately. And actually, we should actually ask forgiveness. Even if you get a chance, when you have wronged a child, ask for forgiveness. When I was a new young teacher, the angry young man, they say in films, no? So at that time, you get angry for small results. When they are not listening to you, that's because of your incapability. They are not listening to you, right? With experience, we know how to tackle our kids. But when you are young, when you are fresh, students will also try to take advantage of you. So it was during one of the earlier days. And this guy was, he was a basketball player. He was a tall 6-foot guy. And he was bouncing his basketball in the class. I got so angry, I caught up his collar and I threw him out of the class. Then after the class, I felt bad about it. That, why did I raise my hand? Why did I get angry? And then I said sorry to him. And he was taken aback, that the teacher is coming. This is long back. Now, of course, we can't even dare to catch anyone by the collar or say anything. This was, I'm talking about some 25 years back. And I said sorry, and he was taken aback. And today, we are in touch. And he says, sir, that incident actually brought me closer to you, because no teacher ever has said sorry. Because those times, they used to get slaps, and this was very common. But then when you do something which is out of the way, you felt bad about it and you said apologize to your students. So sometimes we say that, it's difficult for teachers to apologize to students. But I think to be on the, that rapport, if you want to maintain with you and your students, some of you may think that I am teaching only KG. What difference? They'll forget everything. They don't forget. Like even KG. So those who are teaching in KG1, you can share your experiences. Even when they grow up, I'm surprised. Ma'am, you taught me in KG and this is what happened. I remember this. Even at the age of 3, 4, they're remembering things which happened in the classroom. Do you agree with me or not?
Absolutely, sir.
Absolutely. And this is the beauty of our teaching profession, that whether we are teaching KG or PG, KG to PG teachers, every teacher is important. And in fact, I would give my due respects to people who are teaching in the foundation years, because in the higher grades, we are just molding them into something where we are already getting that seed to a small seedling. And the primary teachers and the people who are teaching in nursery KG, they are actually getting students who don't know anything. And then slowly they mold. And the love that they give and what you are telling them, how you are telling them, makes a great impact on the students. And they love you for that. And even when they are married, they have kids, they will remember you with fond memories. So attitudes and values, this is important. And so if you are having a school culture like that, then this is what's happened. I have also seen, on the other hand, attitudes and values of some school culture is such that, ex-students means finished. Once you pass 12, we don't have anything for you. No touch. There is no past pupil association. There is no interaction between your ex-students and the present school. Nothing happens. For them, it is business. Sorry to say that. Commercial in nature. You have passed out class 12. Okay, tata, bye-bye. Nothing else. But as a good school, as good teachers, we need to maintain that, because teaching is not something which is a business. We are making relationships with our students. Okay, relationship. So some of you must have seen my Facebook post. I don't know if you are my Facebook friend. Recently, we had gone to Srinagar, and on the flight back, the pilot was my student, and I was so happy. And he came out of the cockpit, he hugged me.
Yeah, I saw that. It was so nice, so
It was
touching
so
it
nice.
was.
Yes. And he hugged me, Matthew sir, how are you? And I felt so proud, captain of the cockpit is, and all the passengers are wondering, who is this man? And, I felt so proud that my student, he is coming out of the cockpit, hugging me and, embracing me and saying thank you for everything. And then he forgot to click a picture with me. And then he called me up. He called me when I was taking up my luggage. He called me and said, sir, where are you? I said, I'm picking up my luggage. I'm in the trolley belt. So he came, he had a flight to Orissa. He said that I'm coming to meet you. He came near the trolley bag. He clicked the picture and that picture is on my Facebook post, So these are incidents which make you happy as a teacher. I taught him probably 25 years back, but still those fond memories. And if suppose my relationship with him was not good, he will not even bother. Who is this guy who is in the plane? He will not even acknowledge my presence. So in front of 300 passengers, if somebody is acknowledging you, that means that that made my day. Anything, that. So small things like that. Giving appreciation to your students and attitudes and values that will develop in their life is going to make you happy as a teacher, right? So these are the different aspects of this report card. So it's a very beautiful report card. Actually, it's so beautiful if we do it in the right way, because we are dealing with attitudes and values. We are dealing with life skills. We are dealing with physical and health education. We are dealing with academics. And when we fill in this report card with all these dimensions, then what happens? The whole personality of the child is coming out. It is not that one, okay, 90, 80, 70, not numerical data. This is not statistics. We are dealing with a complete personality of a child, right? So who all are involved? So far, we said that these are the parameters. So who all are involved now? Let's see. So obviously, who are all involved? So 360-degree report card, who all are involved? The 360-degree report card is the teachers are involved. The teachers are involved. They will provide the feedback. They will assign the grades. So still the teacher is the most important person, right? They will give all the rating. They will contribute to the assessment process. Teachers are the most important. They will continue doing that. Second, the administrators of the school. Now, administrators of the school could be principal, vice principal, headmistress, your class coordinator, your counselor, special educator. I don't know what parameter, how you are following this. Different schools may have different things. So what happens is that when you are giving an assessment to a child, okay, discipline A, that is in front of you. But what happens? I don't know whether in your schools, in our school, we have something called anecdotal records. Do you have this? Does any school have anecdotal record?
Yes, sir, we had anecdotal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So anecdotal record is recording of incidents that has happened in the school, unpleasant incidents that has happened in the school. Teacher may not be aware because you are in the class for a short period of time. And then what happens is that when you are not there, what happens? There must have been a fight in the class or in the ground, something must have happened. Or there must have been some social media postings, they are using Instagram, Facebook, and some sort of cyber bullying has happened. You are not aware of that. But then it is reported by someone, and then there is an investigation and an anecdotal record is filed. So this is very important. So anecdotal, if you're not maintaining, it should be there because discipline A, character A in front of you, yes. But what about the behind you? Are they the same person as they are behaving to be in the child? So this is very important that the administrators are involved or whoever is keeping these anecdotal records, they are involved in that. So that we get the true picture of that. Students, as I said, they themselves play an active role in the assessment. They will reflect on the progress, set goals, participate in the feedback with all this self-assessment. So there will be a column of the student analyzing themselves. Am I dash, 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 dash. So the self-assessment by the, am I disciplined? Am I completing my work? You can make a list like that for the student. Parents or guardians, they are also involved in the report making. As I said, when they come for meetings or parent-teacher meeting, they say a lot of things, but it is not recorded in the report card. What is their take? That needs to be recorded. I will show you a sample shortly. Then peer assessment, I told you, whenever there is a group activity, when there is a group activity, every student in the group is supposed to contribute to the project. But as I told you, there are some students who don't do, some students who will do. So there will be collaboration, there will be self-reflection. A lot of things are there which can be discovered when there is peer assessment. As a teacher, you may not be able to see all these because the project is made by 5 people, probably in their free period, probably they go home and they collaborate online. Probably they're all living nearby. So on a weekend, they get together and make it. But what happens in those meetings and who's making the project, how it is being made, we don't know. So the peer assessment is a very good idea to bring the peer assessment in the projects. External evaluators. Many schools are employing part-time teachers, not full-time. Okay, part-time teachers. They will come for 1 hour, 2 hour. It could be drama teacher, it could be music teacher, art. They will take the class and go. They are experts in their fields. They will come here for 1 hour, 2 hour. So they are also given an opportunity to assess the students, not only the class teachers, but these external evaluators who are coming. They can also give you a feedback of children participating in these activities. So we are having teachers, we are having parents, we are having self, we are having peer, and we are having external evaluators. So these are the people involved in this. So a collaborative environment has to be created where the feedback and the overall development of the child has to be kept in mind, keeping in mind all the stakeholders and all the parameters. Then only the report card becomes holistic. So this is a sample of what can be done in the report cards. So in this report card, if you see, this is the subject English. So what the child has scored in PT1, what has the child scored in PT2, periodic test 2, half yearly, you can present it in the form of a graph. Now graph, you don't have to make, you have to tell your ERP to generate this. Okay. This is the class average. This is the topper's marks. So I've got my PT2 marks. It will be more relevant to little senior classes. In primary, since you're giving grades or you don't want to make it too competitive, you may not do it. But when you are dealing with class 6 onwards or even 4, 5, then what happens? The parent is always asking you, what is the class average? What is the topper's marks? What is the student's marks? So these 3 things have to be kept in mind. Now, this is one subject, like this for all the subjects, 6 subjects or 5 subjects. So PT2 marks is this much. Class average, if you see the bar graph, it is higher than the PT2 marks of the student. What does this mean? That the child has scored below average as compared to the class. So the parent and the child knows that I have to work harder to come to the average, because right now I am below average. If the child's marks is higher than the class average, okay, I am above average. But then what is my next target? See, what is the topper's marks? See, the topper's marks is right on top, the last bar graph. So this I understand. Okay, I need to work this much. There is now a goal, there is an aim to become a topper of the class. So this is a comparison between yourself, your class average and topper's marks, which also helps in creating an aim. Otherwise, I don't know what to aim for. Oh, I am good. I am happy with my 75. But are you below average of the class or above average? That's parameter number 1. And parameter number 2 is, am I close to the topper's marks, or am I the topper, or I am much below the topper's marks? So these are the 3 things that we get from this graph. Now you have to assess your own performance also. Am I improving or am I going down? So this is the second graph that we can make. This is what I scored in my first periodic test. This is what happened in midterm. My performance improved. Then I went down in PT2 and still gone bad in the finals. So every subject will have this. And then automatically the parent and the child and the teacher and whoever is looking at the report will know that this performance is increased or decreased. Performance is increasing or decreasing. This is important because every test that you are having, you have to compare it with the previous test that you have taken and also with the class average and the class topper. These 2 things of comparison will help you to know where you stand. Are we doing well? Are we okay? Can we do better? Is there scope for improvement? And so on. So this is a sample report card. I will be showing you a better. I have also posted in the WhatsApp group, but I will be showing you some more. Now, this is what the report card will look like in terms of the academics. Okay, I'm just showing you an academic thing. This is the marks that is obtained, and you see the graph there. This is the marks of English, and there are 3 bar graphs here. This is the marks achieved by the student. 78 marks is the marks achieved by the student. 84 is the class average. That means the class average is higher, and the 96 is the marks of the topper. So what has happened in this is that I know that my performance in English is not good because I am below average. My performance is not good here because I am below average, and I am short by these many marks from the topper. So I have something to aspire for. So this graphical representation shows that. Now this is a overall report, for example, when we are showing all the internal marks, the midterm, end term, total marks, total percentage, and so on, right? And see here, this is what this is one report. Normally in our reports, what happens? The remarks is written by the teacher. So here you have, what does my teacher have to say? And here you see so many signatures. Signature of the teacher is there. Signature of the coordinator, signature of the vice principal, signature of principal. So many signatories are there. That means they are all they have all contributed in some way or the other in making this. And also something which you will not find in many of the reports. There is a column here. What do my parents have to say? Or parents' remarks. This I took from a colleague of mine whose daughter was studying in a school. And I found this column something different, because here the parent is writing. Of course, this child is good, so the parent has written, we feel proud to see Rishika's progress and achievements, and all credit goes to. But remember, there could be something negative also. There could be something negative also. So we have to be prepared for this in the report. So when we are making this report, if we add this parent's remark, the parent also feels happy about that his or her remark is there in the report card. Because sometimes what happens when they verbally give suggestions, it is unheard. Now, this is a proof. This is a documentary evidence that the parent has written something, and it is up to the school now to follow up that, take up the suggestion, or find suitable ways to answer that. So this is something where the parent can be involved. Similarly, a grading process can be involved where the parent is also involved, right? So now I'm going to show you that report card. 1 second. So any questions so far you can ask. I'll just stop share this and take out the next one. So any questions so far? If there is any question, then otherwise I will show you that report card that we have got. It's still loading. Yeah. This visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So here, ideally, what should happen? Your report card should obviously, these are all 90% of the things may already be there in your report card. Name of the school, the affiliation number, phone number, email, telephone number. If it is a CBSE school, the CBSE logo, your vision, mission, and motto. Every school should have a vision, motto, and mission, because we are training our children to become that, right? Whatever is our vision, we make sure that our children become that. Name of the student, date of birth, residential address, photo of the student. Many of the schools are not having this, so they can add all this. The class section, obviously, this is there. And now the Delhi government is also asking us to record the height, weight, and eyesight. Because sometimes what happens is that there are different forms by the Delhi Directorate. Suddenly they will say, write the height, weight, and the problem in the eye and all that. I don't know whether your schools are getting those notifications in other states, but many times we are getting this. So they have it. They are saying that make it a part of the report so that every time the child is not going to the doctor to get the eye tested. So once it is done once, then obviously that remains there. Then next year, if there is a problem or change, then obviously like height and weight and all will change. So that can be refilled and this record will be there in the school. Father's name, contact number, mother's name, contact number, all this is there. And now we come to the report card part. Now in the report card, they have divided this into the first part, scholastic areas. Now in the scholastic areas, what is happening? We have a periodic test, which is of lesser marks, and we have a half yearly and the finals, which is of more marks. And then we have the formative assessments. Now, in formative assessment, we are having the pen paper test. Pen paper test means you are having a written test. That would be some schools are having 2, some people are having 3. And then how you are giving that weightage 2, 3 and converting into 5, that should be mentioned there. Otherwise, parents will get confused on how is it an average? Is it best of 2? That has to be mentioned here. So here, see, I mentioned here average of best of 2. So if there are 3 tests, I am taking best of 2. Again, it depends on the school what they are taking. Then there is something called a portfolio. Now, what is a portfolio? Portfolio is a collection of the classwork, homework, assignments, projects done by the student. Whatever work you are giving to the child in class, whatever the student is doing at home, a collection of that, samples of that is a portfolio. Now, some also make, they decorate it and they, put all the work there. If you have done some interesting activities, they'll paste there. So that is portfolio. Portfolio is, once you open a portfolio, the examiner or the teacher should understand, okay, these are the activities that the child did throughout the year. Multiple assessment. Now, multiple assessment, remember, is ways of testing the child not through paper pen. That should be avoided. No written work, only in terms of oral questioning, class discussions, participation. We should give this multiple assessment. It could be simple things like crossword, it could be a quiz, it could be a debate, it could be a role play. Multiple assessments are there, but no written test, because we are in the habit of giving written tests. So that should be avoided. So multiple test assessment is 5. Then we have subject enrichment activity. What is that?
Can reading, sir, can reading, like we test them for reading. So that can be multiple assessment.
Yeah, reading in fact is also an enrichment activity. Speaking and listening skills. You are doing small lab activities. You are doing art integration work. All this can be, yes, multiple assessments as well as subject, but no written work. Yes, ma'am. So you are giving any work to the child, or you are simply talking to the child, and you are assessing that child on the basis of reading, but not on writing and giving some marks on that. Okay, write 50 words about a rainy day. Not that. But it could be, yes, as you said, reading. It could be some.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And subject enrichment, you can give that. So total, all this will come 20 marks. And then you are giving the final out of 80. Now, this will depend on class to class. If it is primary and seniors, there may be different variations in the total marks, but the parameters remain the same. Now, here in CBSE NEP, now they are going to introduce additional subjects. Now we are having the regular subjects like English, Maths, SST, Hindi, and all that. Now we are having additional subjects like we are having artificial in 6, 7, 8, or they will have artificial intelligence. In primary, they're introducing, some schools have already doing it, computers. Then you may have other, like environmental education, work education. All this can be as additional subjects will come, not the main 5, 6, but additional subjects can also be there where you have more emphasis on the practical aspects. The practical is 50, theory is 50, right? So if you see the other subject, the practical component is less. Here we are going to introduce more of practical component. 50 marks is practical. It's more of like subjects based on life skills. And then you have, after the additional subject, you have the holistic development area. Now, this is also something new. We were in the previous report card, we were giving grades on discipline, cleanliness, respect to elders, all this A, B, C, D grade that you are giving, right? Now, here also we are going to give grades, but in holistic development areas. Now, in each subject, every teacher is supposed to do this. So in primary, there may be one teacher doing multiple things. In senior section, there will be different teachers doing this. So what are we going to grade this? ABCD that we already know. A is exemplary, B proficient, C is developing or emerging. And normally we don't give E, but D is limited or emerging, right? So ABCD grade. So when we are doing this ABC, for each subject, you see the short forms there. CT, critical thinking. Is the child able to think? Writing is a different thing, but here, is the child able to think, give you certain ideas when you are having a class discussion? Is the child giving you ideas? Is the child able to communicate well? Okay, then creativity. Is the child able to draw well? What kind of creativity is the child exhibiting? That is there. CR. Communication. Yes, ma'am. You want to say something, Liesel, ma'am?
No.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you. No,
I think my mic was on.
Oh, okay, yeah. And communication and collaboration. Now, collaboration is also there. Now, they say no man can live as an island. Is the child collaborating with others? Are they able to work in a team? Are they taking up leadership roles properly? Are they assigning roles properly? This comes under each language, right? Then we have ML. ML is media literacy. Are they aware of media, social communication, media literacy? Are they reading the newspaper, finding out that? Then technology literacy. Do they know basic stuff like how to make PowerPoint, Excel? I'm talking about the higher classes. Smaller kids may be different. Do they know Microsoft Word? Simple things, media literacy. Now it is part and parcel of our education. Nobody can say that I am a very educated person, but I am digitally illiterate. We can't say that. We have to learn. And COVID has taught us many things, right? Most of us were probably illiterate. I mean, some of you were very good earlier also. But some of the people like me, we were totally illiterate. And then we learned all this after the COVID or during the COVID times. When we were pushed in that scenario, all of a sudden, we had to learn everything from the scratch. Preparing PowerPoint, preparing Excel, Microsoft Word, and everything we learned practically because we had to use it. Teams and Zoom and everything, right? So digital literacy, very important in today's times for students and even for teachers. Flexibility. Now this comes, flexibility means what? Is the child very rigid? No, I will do it in this way. When you are trying to convince them, some people are very rigid, not flexible. That is not a good life skill because in companies, then you see some people will keep changing jobs. Why? Because they can't take orders from some people. They're not able to work properly with teammates. There are issues. So flexibility is very important. You have to see the situation and be flexible, understanding, and then mutually come upon a decision which will benefit the students. So flexibility is important. Then L stands for leadership. Are we taking leadership roles? There is a class assembly. There is a class notice board. There is a class discussion. Sometimes the class is dirty. Are they even making an effort to clean it up, or do they inform teachers about something which is happening? Leadership, so many things are there by which we can judge their leadership. Initiative, same way. Are they taking initiative in anything, or they are just sitting in the class and going back home? Productivity, how usefully they are making use of the time at home and school. What concrete things are they showing you? What have they done throughout their in their classes and at home? Self-awareness, very important. Children nowadays are not even aware of themselves. Many of them. They don't know if you ask them to write, give me 5 positive and 5 negative qualities of yours, they will struggle sometimes. Because as I said, attitudes and values, the value, they have never done an exercise where they've evaluated themselves. Self-assessment has never taken place in their lives. So it is very difficult for them. We as kids, we went through a lot of sessions, and when our teachers also, used to conduct these exercises where we could assess ourselves. But nowadays, that self-assessment process is lost somewhere. So it is important that we need to be self-aware, because unless we are self-aware of what kind of person we are, we will not be able to make correct choices in our lives. And so that is why, many teachers I have seen complaining about the jobs. Why? because they have entered into this profession not by choice, but by chance. And they will not make happy teachers. And if you're not a happy teacher, your classroom will be a sad place. Classrooms are supposed to be happy. And if the classroom, the moment you enter, you see smiling faces, excited faces, that means your classroom is happy. And the moment you go inside and they you see sad, "Arey yaar, aa gaya ye fir se," that way, or you are absent and they are enjoying there, then that means there is some problem somewhere. We need to rectify that. So it is important for every one of us to create that happy classroom. And why? Because when we are aware, we make correct choices. When our students are aware of themselves, am I an introvert? Am I an extrovert? What am I good at? Am I good at social communication? Am I good for science? Am I good for commerce or arts? Am I good for becoming? Otherwise, you will follow the herd. Okay, your family is saying become doctor, you also become doctor. You become engineer, you become engineer. They may not like it. And that is why nowadays, so many buildings are falling on our head because the engineers that we are producing are not of good quality, perhaps, or they may not be interested in engineering. So many engineers I know who have become radio jockeys and they have left engineering, become something else. I asked them, what happened to engineer? Arey sir, wo to parents ne force kar diya tha, tab kar liya. Abhi now I'm not interested in all that. So that was the time when parents had an influence. Still, many families, the parents insist. But when the child is made self-aware through a personality test, through a psychometric testing, when the child is aware, they make correct choices. And when you make correct choices, especially career choices, everything in life is about choices, right? Whether it is everything, your personal life, your professional life is about choices. If you make the correct choices, you become happy and your life becomes happy. Otherwise, what happens is that every time there is a problem and you are doing your job just for the salary, perhaps. And that becomes a little problematic because that reflects in your teaching and your students are the first people to identify that. So this is very important at the school stage. We understand, give them opportunities so that they become self-aware. Then we have work education. In work education, in many schools, we have these clubs and movements, right? So many clubs are there. You have dramatics club, you have photography club, you have a cooking club, so many clubs. And that is very good. That is, SUPW, they, in once upon a time when we were small, we used to call it. And then they slowly banned SUPW because they thought that SUPW, there was a negative full form for that. What is that? Why did they ban SUPW? Because they said that SUPW is, anyone knows that full form of SUPW?
Some useful, productive activity.
Yes, ma'am. So that's the good part. So I am asking what was the negative full form? Socially useful, productive work was the actual, you have absolutely said. But why? There was a negative full form also. What is that SUPW? They said that it is, anyone knows this or no? It is some useful periods wasted. Some useful periods wasted. So they said that SUPW mein kya rakha hai? Some useful periods are getting wasted. Bacche sab waste kar rahe time. So this is what is happening. So SUPW ka khatam ho gaya. And then slowly NEP said that nahi, SUPW is very important. Work education, unless we are giving SUPW, socially, ma'am rightly said, socially useful, productive work, unless we give opportunities for our kids to give productive work, so aage life mein kya karenge? Cooking. If you don't know cooking, then what will happen? Every time we can't eat from outside. So this is also survival skill. Na? If your partner is not there to cook, kuch to khana hai. So something you have to cook for yourself, or you are in a place where nothing is available, cook something. And clubs for, so different clubs are there. Social service, in between seva that was brought in. So different clubs and work education can be introduced, and it should be part and parcel of our education system. And then comes the value and performing arts. You have dance, and many of the schools are happening, as I said, but now even some schools are becoming misers. They are employing, not giving, they're not recruiting proper people for all this because they feel that it's a waste of time. As I said, some useful periods wasted. But this is also important. Your music is important, your dance is important, drama, drawing, art and crafts, sculpture, as much activities the child is exposed to, it is good for the child, especially at the foundation stage. Of course, senior stage, then they're more into academics. But during the foundational stage, I think it's very, very important that all these are given adequate importance. Then we have, after the work education and the visual and this, we have health and physical education. Again, Very, very important aspect. And the NEP says that we have to give a lot of importance to health and physical education. Of course, here there are parameters. Okay, this is discipline. Yeah. Now, discipline is what? Sitting quietly in the class is discipline. Or there are parameters. So attendance is discipline. How many days are you coming to school? How sincere are you in the class? What is your behavior inside and outside the class with the peer, with you, with others? What is the value system of the child? Is the child involved in some XYZ things? So all this forms discipline. Not that ये तो अच्छा बच्चा है, ये तो बोलता ही नहीं. You know, that's the general thing. ये तो बहुत अच्छा बच्चा है. What is this अच्छा बच्चा? Those who don't talk in class are good, and those who talk and disturb you in class are bad. So this is, a criteria has to change. Then health and physical activities, sports. In many schools, they have introduced NCC now, which is very good. Yoga is become mandatory. From the PMO, they are saying that yoga should be mandatory. So a lot of schools are having yoga periods, which is actually good. It's a way of life. And first aid, many people don't know even what to do, how to do CPR, how to give first aid. Somebody falls on the ground, they will go running to the school office and inform, instead of they doing something, carrying the child and doing the needful. The child may have had a fracture. They will move his body and the fracture will get worse. So these are certain things are there which we need to teach kids, and that comes in health and physical activities. Then, of course, the value education that we are talking about, very important. Hygiene and sanitation, honesty, truthfulness, empathy, respect for all. So these are the different this is specific participation. The child has participated in any activity in school or outside school. Sometimes they go for some competition outside school. It could be something from the society. It could be from your religious organization. It could be some club which you are part of. All this specific part, you participated at the state level, zonal level. All this can be maintained in this report card, special participation. Then, of course, the class teacher's remarks. And here comes the parents' remarks. Here, this is something new, right? So parents' remark, result, promoted data and retest, the date, the class teacher is going to sign, any other signatory. And this could be, as I said, graphical representation of the performance of the child in each subject. And there could be comparison of your marks, the marks are the average marks and the topper marks. So this report then overall becomes comprehensive, because this report card is made by multiple people, and it is also showing different parameters of assessment, not only academics you saw here, it is showing physical and health education, it is showing attitudes and values, it is showing life skills, all the parameters that we have discussed, the report card is showing this. So this becomes a holistic report card, because after seeing this report card in totality, all the parameters, all the descriptive value education, health and physical education, discipline, visual performing arts, work education, then this is holistic development areas, and of course the academics. So when you see all this, then the totality is known, and the true picture of the child comes not only in the academics. So I hope I was able to give you some idea of what a holistic report card is and how we need to prepare ourselves for this. See, as teachers, what we need to do is we need to prepare ourselves for the parameters that are coming, because unless we understand, we cannot give justice. We cannot do a justice to the grading that we are giving to the students. So you've understood that how important the different parameters are, and involving the stakeholders are there. So I will be happy to answer any questions. If you have any particular question, I will be happy to answer that with respect to whatever we did today. Or you want to share something, you are most welcome to do that as well.
Sir, if you could share a sample of a report card for junior level also, if you have any. Yes, so that we can prepare our assessment accordingly.
Fine, we'll do that. Any other? One request I have got, and that is a sample report card for the primary. Anything else?
That would be useful.
Yeah,
Junior school we need.
So Nina, you are here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, so I was just telling Nina that in case there is a request for primary, because she's conducting a separate session on primary, so she will be showing you exactly what the primary components of this will be. besides this, any other question related to 6 to 12? Because then I will stop, and those who are not interested in listening to the primary, they can say, we can say good night to each other. And those who would like to stay can, understand a little bit about the primary format. 10-15 minutes it will take probably. Nina will share and show you what that report card should be, because it is practically the same, but the form of assessment will be different. So yes, that is there. Anything else that you would like to ask me? Because then I will take a back seat, and then I will hand it over to Nina to explain the other part of it.
Yeah.
And
Good
then,
evening, Matthew, sir.
yes, ma'am. Anita, ma'am.
Yeah. Sir, my question is, do we have separate like primary, middle, and senior secondary, or we are only divided into two, primary and secondary?
Yeah, ma'am. We are doing in 2 stages only, primary and the senior section. 6 to 12, we can keep the same format. 10th and 12th is, of course, board, so we don't have to do anything. For the other classes, we are going to start from 6. And primary format will be different because they have little bit difference in the forms of assessment, not as rigorous as the assessment that we are following. So it is, as of now, I think it is better if schools follow 2. Now, if there is a directive from CBSE to follow 3 and 4 and all that, we will see later. But as of now, there is nothing like that. We are going to prepare 2, one for the foundational stage and one for the senior level.
So, sir, it means like primary will include pre-primary as well.
Nina, would you like to answer that? Is it separate?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. No. It is separate in the sense that because this is all a flow down from NEP, NCF, and the assessment. So NEP says there are 4 formats, right? 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So then there is a separate report card for foundation stage, separate one formatting. The structure is almost the same. There are like a few points which are different. And now the preparatory stage report card has been released. Like Jaya, are you here? When we had attended Parakh, they had explained us about the foundation report card. And now they have also developed the preparatory stage, that is grade 3, 4, and 5 also. And now they are working towards middle and senior secondary. So that I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Nina.
Okay.
Thank you.
So is there anything regarding senior? Because then I will finish off my part. If the people who want to listen about a little bit about primary, then Nina will share that samples of the report so that you can see, and then we'll wind up in about 10-15 minutes. So others who are...
Excuse me, sir.
Just a request, can we have a session only for the junior school, another time, some other time?
That full session is there, but that, of course, that is possible.
Thank you, Renuka, because it's going to be really tough for all of you to understand after 1.5 hour of rigor.
No, now, Nina, what I would suggest is you just show the report card format.
But they will not understand. I'm sure, because I can share. No problem.
Just share it.
I'll just share it. But it is all related to curricular goals, competencies.
We'll have a separate session on that. Those who are interested in
So
going for
then
that session,
it's
we'll
like,
plan it out later.
okay, I'll share. I'll just share.
Yeah, just share the, probably they're interested in just the final, because understanding, again, just like I took a 1.5 hour session, the same thing, many of the things may have to be repeated, but only the format you can show just now. Right?
I don't know how, is it clear? The slide?
Yeah, just to put it on full screen.
Okay, just
clear.
Yeah. So now this is, now again I have to I didn't do the current. Let me try it again.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. So this is the progress card for preparatory. I will be giving a session on Tuesday. So before that, I had collected a lot of report cards from different schools and gone through a lot of YouTube videos. So let's see a very basic report card. This, like when we were kids, this was a very basic report card where it's only academics, right? And there's just the marks, the academics, and it's definitely not a 360 degree because it doesn't even have the physical education part and other things, right? The music or art, which we used to have. And then we have another report card, which is much better. There is a lot of clarity, which Matthew had shared about the PTA. This we are familiar with, right? We know that the PT1 and all these subject enrichment activities are mentioned over here. Then we have another one, which this report card again is showing the grades and the subjects and everything. Now, what is happening is, according to Parakh, they are giving a full sheet, right? They're giving a full sheet as in it is divided into part A, part B, and part C, which I had taken one of the webinars on this part A, part B, part C for foundational stage. So same way, for preparatory also, they have same part A, part B, and part C. So then, but it is different in the sense that over there, part A might have just 2 parts, and over here it will have like more parts. So there's a lot of comparison happening over here because now the children are in grade 3. And the curricular goals are different, the competencies are different, the learning outcomes are different. So what is going to happen is all these curricular goals, competencies, and learning outcomes, everything is given in detail in the NCF. All you have to do is select the correct curricular goal for your school. And if the ARP can make the report card, then it just has to be attached to that. Because grade 3 onwards, NEP is saying there will be an external exam. So you're probably, so see, this is all pilot projects. So we are all in the same waters. We are testing the waters right now. So no one is ready with a report card, which is 360 degree, as in, which is related to NEP, NCF, and following that same exact structure. But we are all trying towards it because the templates are given, the structure is given, everything is there. But we are having the previous knowledge of developing our report cards and including so many parameters. So we just need to mix and match NCF and our previous knowledge of the report cards. Now, these are some of the report cards, which again, Matthew had said that, you know, the graphical representation of the performance of the child and the grades and everything. So I'll not take much time. I want to complete it. So here, again, this is the same report card. And now we have much more in detail. This is last year's report card for another school, which has more details of the post-scholastic areas. And this is it, okay, so now this is what the last year's, but NCF is much closer to this one in the sense that I'll show you here, competencies. Now, this is the one. So competencies, you domain is important, whether it's the physical domain, the cognitive domain, or the socio-emotional domain. There are 6 domains in NCF. So according to that, you choose the curricular goal. If you see the blue ribbon over here, the competencies, and then how many terms you have, term 1, term 2, term 3. And over here, everything is just copy-pasted from the NCF. All right. So you can choose. There are so many. See, for a foundation stage, there are 13 curricular goals. For preparatory, it's subject-wise. So English will have, say, language. Language will have only 5 curricular goals, because child's learning has reached a certain age. So now we're just narrowing down the curricular goals, right? And this way, then see how this is how you select curricular goal. Now this is somewhat related to the subject enrichment activity also. So that can be replaced with this, what you will be doing, because that will give you more clarity on this. So curricular goal on mathematics. So you choose where your children are. So different schools, you know, they will do till 1,000 and 10,000, I don't know, mind-boggling numbers for grade 1 and 2, which is not required at all. The concepts have to be clear. So what is the learning standard of your school, catering to the region of your place? Even that has to be taken into account. How many parents are coming from what background? That also needs to be taken care of when you are choosing the curricular goal and competencies for your school. So it's essential components. See, the essential components, again, I've taken this report card only because academics will be there. Now, whether you want to grade them or you want to give a key assessment criteria, or marks are still, I mean, at bay. There are some schools who are using marks for grade 1 and 2, which is not required. Teacher can have the details of the marks, but grades or some comments or one word, exemplary or outstanding, words like these can be used, as I had shown you previously. And this is the part C of the report card, HPC. Now, this is related to the activity. Now, activity also is mentioned in the NCF. And to start with, if we follow the same activity, we don't have to think of a new activity because everything is planned. We just have to tweak it or fine tune a little bit, changes here and there we can do, because the rubric is given, teacher rubric, a lot of examples are given, the planning is given. So then you can just follow that. Let's do it. I think that would be better rather than thinking of a new activity, so that once you do it, you know the method, you know the structure, the system is in place, and the next year, the following year, we can improve upon it. So this is like stream, mountain, sky, which I had mentioned in the foundation stage. The same way we are following for preparatory stage. So this is performance level descriptors, and then the abilities, that is awareness, then sensitivity and creativity. So these are levels of mastery, how you can show the key descriptor, because it will be new for parents, it will be new for teachers, it will be new for everyone. So we need orientation for teachers, we need orientation for parents, we need a lot of understanding of the HPC. Otherwise, it might fall flat. So if we start together with this kind of understanding, it will, because the way it is planned, I must say it's brilliant. Only if it is implemented in the right way and understood by everyone in the right way. Otherwise, it will be a bit tough. So
yeah,
the parents
I agree to this point.
Yeah, thanks. So, yeah. And again, for language and literacy. So like Renuka, you said that reading can be part of, reading is like Nipun Bharat, if you talk about Nipun Bharat, which is again under NCF and NEP, it is talking about proficiency in reading with understanding, not just reading. So language and mathematics, the numeracy skills are top priority in foundational and preparatory. So all the activities are there related to that, and also emotional intelligence. When we talk about the self-assessment, the peer assessment, and the parents' assessment, it is like it gives a holistic view of the report card. Now, this assessment has to be recorded. Maybe it can be given as a Google form to the parents. Maybe it can be given as a worksheet to the parents and the students. So that can be decided by the school according to the infrastructure that they have, right? So again, the competencies here: develops phonological awareness. So now again, stream, mountain, sky. What is the awareness of the child about the language? So you feel that sky, okay? So sky is the highest level. So you can either put a tick or the way they design the report card, okay? So same way this, or if you find this very confusing, then you can have a very simple one in the previous pages. You just have just one dot. Okay, you have a concised thinking of what the child has done, awareness and creativity, and then you can just mention like this, just one dot or tick. And this is how do I feel at school? I can talk about, and this is the self-assessment of the child. This is the peer feedback, again, Google form or worksheet. So preparatory is saying that there will be two peers who will be taking this, doing this for each child. So that is what they are saying. And this is the parent form feedback that they have. And here also, my child can help and all this, they have to just circle or mark the correct smiley, whatever they feel. And that's it, yeah. So there's lots more to this, and because this is just 10 minutes that I got to explain in a very concise way. I hope I was able to do justice to that, but this is a long PPT and
Thank you, Nina. So whatever little you could, like you tried your best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, ma'am. Now we got more clarity. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nina. And if there are any questions, we can take that. Or if somebody wants to share anything, any thing that they are doing in their schools, and they want to share something, some activity or something, you're most welcome. Otherwise, the certificate link I have already posted in the group. You can fill that and get your certificates for this session. And the recording, I will try to post today itself. Otherwise, definitely by tomorrow, you will get the posting as well.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Actually, it was my question since I have joined late. So I wanted the recording.
Recording, yeah. So
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so
recording I
much,
will
sir.
So,
Thank you, sir. One
thank you all
question.
for joining.
How are we going to handle the large number? Like on an average, every class will have about
Yeah.
50
Well,
students.
Jaya, that's a very valid question. I had a debate with Matthew. I said, what is this? I mean, there's so much of
Thank you for bringing that up.
detailed, detailed things in the report HPC. The only thing is that is why to start with, we need to start with the same activity, what is given over there. Even if we have to do it for 2 years, let's go ahead with those. I mean, whatever is given over there. Otherwise, for every child to think of challenges, there is a column for challenges. The challenges that I saw.
If the child is able to think critically or not. I mean, with large numbers,
Yeah,
mean,
it's a
points
large.
like these.
See, that is what the whole debate is about. The NCF is a 600-page plus document, and the teacher-student ratio, Renuka, what I'm saying is the teacher-student ratio that they're talking about, it's only half a page that they've given. Half a page they're talking about, whereas that is the elephant in the room. That is a huge problem for India. So, but the thing is that if we follow a systematic way, which is already given and designed well, structured well, for say 2-3 years, then everyone gets used to that system. Only then we can think of going ahead with it. Otherwise, there will be a lot of loopholes here and there. And plus, if we think we keep that point of the teacher-student ratio in mind when we are going with this HPC report card, which is really designed well, but we need some flexibility, some empathy towards teachers and the people who are going ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And ma'am, giving justice to each and every child would definitely be a task to every teacher now.
Yes, that is there, but the foolproof system, the rubric is given very in detail. For example, there is an activity where buying and selling is happening for mathematics, but they have given the rubric so beautifully. They have given, okay, 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes, you're going to do this. The next 10 minutes, you're going to do this. The next 10 minutes, the class is going to do this. So it's well planned as of now. So if we go according to that, then I think
the plan is there. How to implement is the big question, because see, as Nina said, it's a huge document. So how many teachers will actually read it and implement? That's the main question.
Yeah, and the schools have to get in touch with the ERP who are designing the report card. What all they would like to include for their pilot project.
Yeah, so it's very important that if you are asked, or if you are giving suggestions, or your school is taking suggestions from you regarding the making of the report cards, do put in your suggestions before the report card is actually made, because once the report card is made, then it becomes a problem. It's very important, very essential for teachers to be also in the part. Rather, I would say, Matthew, we gave that session for the engineer, the coding people, those who are designing the report card. So they themselves, they need to understand NCF, they need to understand NEP, and
Exactly.
so the people who are actually designing the report cards are not aware. So we had to explain to them that what it is, because they cannot understand.
They themselves, they were brought up.
They understand it better, because they are engineers and they are software engineers, and they will just make something which is given to them by the schools. So as teachers and educators, we have to be aware of this and tell our schools, at least on these are the parameters which should be there. As teachers, that's what our role is in the next 1 year, when 2025, when the holistic report card comes. Some of the parameters, if not all, should be added so that it becomes holistic.
Yeah.
So I think, shall we stop, or is there any other question? And so if it is possible for some of you to switch on the camera, we'll take a photograph and then we'll post in the group. We'll be happy. If it is not possible for you to switch on, then we will say goodbye. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So it will be nice if you can switch on the camera, and then we can take a good snap. Then shows our
Sir, now it's evening and the holidays are going on. Now we are not in proper dress, but still I'll be open.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So
thank you, sir. Thank you, Nina ma'am.
Nice to see Reshma. Hi, Reshma.
Hi, thank you to all the CGM teachers.
Thank you.
In good numbers.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
you
so much.
Share the link.
Thank you so
on
much,
the
Nina
group
ma'am.
for your.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, Matthew, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night to all.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.